Alrighty then, welcome one, welcome all. This is your boy Hank Hackerson on the channel Hank Hacks Hackers, and we're going through TryHackMe's basic pen testing room, where we are going to be doing some basic pen testing, so it seems. As always, if you don't have access to TryHackMe, you can register for it for a very, very inexpensive amount. If you want even an extra discount on top of that, you can use the link in the bio and you'll get a credit towards your membership. And then what you can do is you can follow along with the labs with me without having to get multiple virtual machines and stuff like that. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. Make sure to turn on that bell so that you can get notified the next time that we drop something. And we're going to get into it. Part of the things that TryHackMe offers is these things, this little virtual machine that you can get, and then it gives you the IP address within a minute. And then this is the machine that we're going to end up attacking. And then the machine that we're going to use to attack is our attack box. And then you press that blue button at the top corner, and that gives you the attack box. And then this is the IP address of the attack box, and this will be the IP address of the machine that we're going to end up attacking. And you can connect to this through VPN so that you can use your own terminal if you wanted to. But I actually just like using their attack box because it's in browser, especially for these videos. It's a lot easier to do it this way. So we're just going to go through the one basic module with the one basic task in this room. Hopefully it won't take too long, because the last video I thought was going to be a short video and it ended up being a pretty long video. So here we go. Web app testing and privilege escalation is the name of the task. In these sets of tasks, you're going to learn the following: brute forcing, hash cracking, service enumeration, and Linux enumeration. The main goal here, let's make sure we zoom in properly. The main goal here is to learn as much as possible. Make sure you're connected to your network. Okay, well, that's always the goal. So credits to Josiah Pierce from VulnHub. So deploy the machine and connect to the network. We did that. Find the services exposed by the machine. So what does the hint say? The hint says use Nmap scan to look for the open ports. Okay. So fair enough, we're just going to do an Nmap SV scan. We did that actually in the last video as well. And then so the next question is, what is the name of the hidden directory on the web server? Enter the name without the tag. And so we're probably going to end up using GoBuster, as we did in the previous task as well. Use brute forcing to find a username and password. We are probably going to end up using a variety of different tactics to get this, to pull that off. What is the username? What is the password? What service do you use to access the server? Answers in abbreviation in all caps. Enumerate the machine to find any vectors for privilege escalation. The machine has already started for us. And what is the name of the other user you found? All lowercase. If you found another user, what can you do with this information? And what is the final password that you obtained? So all of these things are here. We do get some hints in the whole process. So the hint for this one was to use Nmap to find all the open ports. The hint for this one is use dir search, dirbuster from GoBuster to find the hidden directories. The use brute forcing to find the username and password. What is the username? What about using SMB to find a username? That's probably going to be through Metasploit maybe. What is the password? What about using a tool like Hydra to brute force, or John the Ripper? We could do that too. What service do you use to access the server? Answer in abbreviation. What command line utility is used for remote access? That one's so easy. And I'm going to do this. Oh, it's not it. So never mind then. It's not as easy as I thought it was. Enumerate the machine to find any vectors for privilege escalation. Use a privilege escalation checklist or a tool like LinEnum, Linux enumerator. What is the name of the other user you found? All lowercase. If you have found another user, what can you do with this information? And what is the final password that you obtained? So we are going to start from the very top. All right, so we're going to start a new terminal. Inside the terminal, we can do a lot of different versions of Nmap. To get all of the open ports, I feel like I have to do the full freaking uh, uh, this thing right here, all of the ports. So this might take a long time. Hopefully it won't take too long, but it might take longer than we want it to. So we're going to use Nmap with these various different flags, and I'll tell you what those mean. I just want to get this started. Oh, my bad. So I was supposed to dedicate an output name. I guess we could do that. Why not? We'll do scan, or what? Nmap scan will be the output name, and then all ports, and then paste. Oh wait, hold on. One last thing. We're gonna increase verbosity so we could see everything as it happens. There you go. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. And that's SSH. Forget what this one is. This is port 8080 for HTTP. This is also 80. Or this might actually be a server. This is for HTTP. We'll see. We're going to get all the service names as we go through that. And what it'll do is it'll tell us how long it's going to take for this thing to actually finish scanning as well, which is why I like using VV. So let's look at the different flags that we used, right? So just so you can kind of understand what's going on here. So if we do man nmap, it's going to give us the manual for nmap, and then it's going to tell us what all these different things are that we looked up, right? So for the host discovery, or let's start from, where is it? Right here. Okay. So we used SC, SV, and ON. ON is for output, so that's kind of an easy one. So let's find SC to see what it gives us, and SV. SV, probe open ports to determine service. So SV, I kind of remember it because it has, you know, S and a V in it for service, so that's how I remember SV. So SV is for service. SC is equivalent to a script scan, and it's the default script, and it typically, the default script ends up showing us just some basic vulnerabilities as it finds them for us, and it'll be in the output file for us. And then P, we skipped already, right here. So dash P just by itself is a port, and then you determine which port you want to actually scan, right? So if you do dash P 1 to 65,000, it's obviously all 65,000 ports. If you do dash P22, it just scans port 22. And then there's another version. It should show it over here. It doesn't actually show it over here, but if you do dash P dash, it ends up just doing all the ports. And because we want to make sure that we have looked at all the ports just so we can find all the vulnerabilities, because this room doesn't seem to give us too many hints, so we just want to make sure that we do a thorough search from the very, very beginning and try to find all of the vulnerabilities. So I'm going to zoom out of this. This is at, what is it? It's at 16 minutes remaining, and it's only 13% done. So I feel like this is still going to take a much longer time than 16 minutes, because with each update it adds more and more time to it. So usually when I do a port scan of all of the ports, it takes about an hour. so I'm gonna go get me some tea, because it's nighttime, so I don't want to get coffee right now. So I'm gonna go get me some tea. I am going to come back when this is all done scanning, and then we'll pick up where we left off. So goodbye for now. I'll see you in literally a second, because you know, the edit, we're gonna edit it, and the hour is gonna pass by in a fraction of a second. All right, so I'll see you in a minute. Bye. Okay, so after literally, how long was this? It was, I think, 2 hours, you guys. This was a long freaking scan. Usually does not take this long when you scan all the ports, but I guess this particular one took a long time, buddy. Okay, so let's look at the results of our scan. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit here. We got port 22 open, SSH service. We got, what is it, open SSH, sure. What's the next one that's open? And let me see if I can kind of go wider on this thing right here. Let's go a little bit wider with that. So port 22 open. These are all the details of what we got on here. A lot of it obviously is jargon like BS. Port 80, which is HTTP. TTL Apache HTTP. So this is a web server. So we can definitely tell that this is actually running, and it's running obviously Ubuntu. Going a little bit further down, you have NetBIOS on 139 and 445 running Samba. You have port 8009, which is not common for it to run an Apache JServe server. And then there's another one on 8080, that's Apache Tomcat, so another server. What else do we got? Are those all the ports? Yeah, I think those are all the ports. Okay, so these are the script. That script that we included, that's just the default script that kind of shows us just what some of the basic stuff is going on. So these are, it seems like these are the groups that are available. So we have basic, work group, uni, just nothing really useful here except other than the fact that these things are actually active. P2P configure, all the checks against these particular ports, TCP and UDP ports. None of them could either failed to receive or they couldn't connect, which means they probably are closed or filtered. What else do we got? SMB. So SMB is seems to be the big thing that we're taking away from this. It's so Samba, the OS is Windows, Samba, Ubuntu, computer name is basic2 is the name of the computer that's running on that. Account use guest, which this is for a different one. Yeah, SMP security mode. That's it, just use the basic guest account just to see if it could do anything. And what else do we got? Security mode, message signing enabled but not required. Script post scanning initiated, NSC. Okay, so it seems that, I mean, after all that, we got some decent information, but not a lot of information. I did get an answer for us, and this was already kind of visible at the very, very beginning for us as well. And I used a different answer, but so where was it? It's right here. Yeah, I think this was the one where it was, what service do you use to access the server? And the hint said, what command line utility is used for remote access? And originally I guessed RDP, but this is SSH. And that's something that we can do on command line. So that's the answer that we got already off the bat. Find the services exposed by the machine. And we did get some services that are exposed here. So we have SMB as a service. We have Apache and Samba running. SSH obviously, and JServe. So there's two different versions of Apache running. So there's Apache JServe and Apache Tomcat. So these are all the services that we got. So what is the name of the hidden directory that is over here? And for that, we are going to use GoBuster. And let's see what we can find on GoBuster. I need to go through my notes to just make sure that I'm doing the right command here. And so we got GoBuster, dir for directory to user share word lists, dirbuster directory list 2.3 dash medium.txt. And so this is basically a dictionary that has a bunch of different directories in there, and we're going to run it against the URL of our target IP. Is it here, or do I need to go get it one more time? I gotta go get it one more time. So, oi, don't scroll up over this there. Come back down. What are you doing? Over here, we want our, there we go, our URL or our IP. DirBuster directory list 2.3 medium. I forgot to type medium. Okay, one more time. We're gonna press up just to go to our last command, and I need to do M right here. Press enter. There we go. Okay, so DirBuster is running, or GoBuster is running for us, so we can see what we got. So we got development as a directory. We got server status as a directory. I have a feeling it's this thing actually. Development. Finished. Yeah, so those are the only two. So let's see. This is probably the answer. That is indeed the answer. So use brute forcing to find the username and password. Okay. First, let's go to the actual directory and see what's over there. So if we go to HTTP and then the IP address, not development, buddy. I wasn't trying to copy development. I don't know why it copied development. It shouldn't have copied development. It should have copied that and saved that. And then development. Okay, so we got 2 text files, and it's interesting that this is even available for us to read. So let's see. On dev, I've been messing with that strut stuff. It's been pretty cool. I think it might be neat to host that on the server too. So that's a little useful information for us. Haven't made any real web app yet, but I have tried that example you get to show off but how it works. And it's the REST version, so you can make REST calls of the example. Oh, and right now I'm using version 2.512. That's probably useful too, because other versions are giving me trouble. K. Okay. And SMB has been configured, also K. I got Apache all set up. We'll put it in the content later. J. Okay. So that is that file. Let's see what this file reads. So 4J from K. So I've been auditing the contents of etc shadow, which is it's one of the really important files on Linux that hosts information about users and passwords. So etc shadow actually has the passwords in it, and then there's something called etc password, or PASSWD, that doesn't have the passwords in it. But it has useful information about users and stuff like that. But this is the file that hosts at least either passwords or the hashes of the passwords. And if you have a hash to a password, there's a lot of different ways that you can reverse engineer that and decrypt that. Or decode it, I guess. So she's been this person has been auditing the contents of this to make sure we don't have any weak credentials. And I was able to crack your hash really easily. So you know your password policy, you know our password policy. So please follow it. Change that password ASAP. So we have noticed that J has a weak password. Okay, so that's probably the person that we're going to try to hack first. Okay, so brute forcing for the username and password. Let's see how we can actually find this person's username at the very least. So one of the great ways to do it, there's something called enum for enumerate for Linux. Where is it? There we go. There's my terminal. So if we do, I think we should have it, locate enum for Linux. Since we're already on the attack box, yeah, there it is. So if I could just do enum for Linux, hopefully it'll work. And then do the IP that we're attacking. Let's see. Oh, it does work. Oh, I forgot to output it. Yikes. Oh, man. So this is going to be tough to read because I know for a fact that within the terminal window we can't get the output visual. So let me see. Let me see how we can get the output. Okay, actually, thankfully, I did not need to rerun it, and I was able to scroll up all the way to the top of this thing and see basically what we got. So, okay, so the target information, let's zoom in a little bit here. The target that's who we ran against, or the IP that we ran against. The domain workgroup that we got is for workgroup, looking for a status. This we already found from our Nmap scan that these things were active. So the first basic one is workstation. This is a messenger service, file server, master browser, domain, workgroup name, master browser, browser service elections. We'll see if that's going to be useful later. Server 1010 allows sessions using username blank and a password blank, which means you don't need a username or password, so they consider that to be anonymous. Domain and workgroup, domain SID null. What else do we got here? Use of uninitialized value of OS info and concatenation or string at root desktop. Tools miscellaneous info for Linux. Okay. OS info for SMB client and serve info. This is, yeah, Ubuntu. We kind of Samba. We already knew this. Let's see what else we got. Users. Do we have any root users here? Uninitiated values. Pattern. Okay, nothing that I could see over there. Share. Oh, so we got some shares. This is good. So we have an anonymous share. We can go see if we could see that anywhere. IPC server, sample server, reconnecting with SMB for group 1 sitting. Server none, workgroup, master workgroup. Okay, so let's see what we can get from anonymous. If we actually go here, see if we can find anything. Anonymous. Is there anything here? No, nothing found. Okay, let's see if we can use a different tool to see what we got in our anonymous share. Maybe we can find it that way. Okay, so just to kind of go over the command with you, SMB client is something that we can use to kind of recon against an SMB service or a server. Syslog workgroups password, nothing, right? Oh, boom, and we got in. Nice. So you didn't need any password. And connection listing, SMB echo failed. Let's try that one more time. We almost got in. Okay. Well, that was a failed attempt. Okay, let's move on. It actually even also gave that information for us here to try to get the share. So let's scroll down a little bit. Password policy information. Dependent program is not present, so we're going to skip that check. Built-in groups, memberships, group memberships, nothing over there. Users, let's see what users we found over here. New SIDs, but we need actual users. So we're gonna scroll. What do we got? Built-in administrator, so these are local groups. Okay, we gotta extend our, so administrator, user, guest, power, account, server, these are the groups for this system. Oop, nothing here. What do we got? Nobody, none. Hey, look at that. K and Jan. Okay, and so K was telling J that their password was weak, remember? So Jan is probably the first one. So let's see. Jan. All right, so what is the password for Jan? And for this one, we are going to use Hydra. You could also probably use John the Ripper to get yourself some good information on the password. So let's see what we can do first. Okay. All right, Hydra is a really good tool, honestly. So the user is going to be Jan. The password is going to be a dictionary or a password list that we're going to use. And this is a really famous one that works in a lot of cases. And since we have SSH available to us, we're going to use SSH as the, 51. So L for Jan passes user share word list rocku.txt ssh and 10 10 64 51. Let's see if we can find Jan's password. Okay, so it failed twice. I think it's because we needed to extend the time. So let's extend the time one more time. Let's see. Let's hope. Yeah, the machine did crash. So we got to restart the machine, and hopefully I don't have to go through. Oh, I do have to restart the attack box again too. But we do have some of these answers already. So hopefully we could just pick up where we left off and try to figure out the rest of these answers. So I guess, you should know that you got to extend the time in your machines. Otherwise, you're going to have to reconnect and start from the beginning. So that's probably why Hydra wasn't working for us, because that server was down. The machine that we're supposed to attack is down. All right, so this thing is back up, and I want to actually retry something, because I think that's probably what the problem was, that we couldn't get that share. So there's a new IP address now, so it's 113.129 is going to be our thing. But I think it's probably, since we're in the same room, it should actually be the same. We're doing the same exercise, so it's just against the new IP address, so it should still work. So this whole thing, and I think the reason why it failed last time is because it disconnected. So press enter, and we're here. ls. There it is. Okay, cool, nice. So what's in here? Cat is not available, really? Why not? So what about type? Really? Nano? Okay, so based on some Googling, instead of cat or type or nano, we might be able to read it like this. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool, that works. So, so this is the actual username. Okay, there you go. So this is literally, we didn't have to do enum for Linux, but I guess that's another way of getting the usernames and passwords. So it says, please do not upload work-related items to the share. I know it's all fun, but this is how mistakes happen. This means you too, Jan. So Jan seems to be making a lot of mistakes. Okay, cool, that worked too. So there you go. How do we get out of here now? Quit. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's really all that's in here. So exit. Cool. All right. So we were able to find what's the last thing that we left off here? The username for Jan. Okay, so what we want to do is use Hydra now to get Jan's password. So let's see what we can do here. Let me zoom back in, and the machine is back up, so it should actually run. Hydra ljan for the password is going to be a word list. So word lists rocku.txt ssh and the IP address. What's the IP address? 10.10.113.129, and I think that should be it. Let's run it and see what Hydra gives us. Nice. Look at that. We got it. Login Jan, password Armando. That is a little bit of a simple password. Boom. Okay, and we already had the answer to that. So enumerate the machine to find any vectors for privilege escalation. So what that means is we are actually going to log in as Jan and see what we could find here. All right, so since we could do SSH, we're going to do Jan at 10.10.113.129. Oops, yes. Armando. And we are in LSLA. This is what we got. So print working directory is home Jan. So let's go back one, LSLA. Look at that, there's also a directory for K. Let's see what's in here. Ooh, this looks interesting. pass.back. So it's a what? A backup file for password? Is that what that is? Can we read this? No, because we can't. I see. Okay. It's kind of getting exciting a little bit. Let's see. Okay, but we are getting closer though. I should not have closed the Firefox browser. Oh no, I didn't. It's the machine reset. That's what happened. Okay. Since we're already inside the machine, there's something that we can get from GitHub, which is actually really useful. And it is called the LinEnum bash file. And this is a very, very long piece of code. And the last time that I tried to download it directly, it came through all distorted or whatever. So now I'm going to actually copy paste it. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom, hold down Shift, click, and copy this whole thing. And then we're going to go back to terminal. We're going to open up a new terminal actually, because we don't want to get rid of that session. So there's our new terminal, and we're going to create a new file. We'll call it the same. So linenum.sh. And then we're going to paste the code in here. Boom. Okay, and then so Control O to write onto it, press enter, wrote 1300 lines, perfect. Control X, and we're out. Where's the file? It's right there. So what we want to do now is we want to transfer it from this machine. This is our attack box right here, and we want to transfer it to this thing. This is the machine that we got a SSH shell into. So the really good way to do this is use a Python HTTP server. And so you just basically turn this machine into a server, and it starts serving. So it starts serving on port 8000, right? And so that's the IP address that we need to access from this machine now. And so the way to do that, simply, so we're going to go back one, and then we're going to do, I guess we could do it in this file. Yeah, we could do it here. We will do wget from the 10.10.45163, which is that thing, port 8000. We want to get linenum.sh, and that should work. Permission denied, so maybe we need to be inside Jan's folder. So let's try it again. So wget http 10.10.45163, right? 45163. Yep. Port 8000. linenum.sh. I think that did work. Okay, so the error that we were getting previously, and I'll show you what the error was. It kept saying, where is it? It was this was the error. So I was trying to download the file that we had just saved on our attack box, which is right here. And the file, it kept saying cannot write to linenum.sh, but it was mainly because I was in a directory or a folder that I couldn't save to or I couldn't write to. And I tried changing to a few directories, and I was still getting the same error message. So there's a simple command, and this is the command right here. So it says find this right here. So this means everything past root, right? So I could have done /temp, and it would look inside everything inside temp, right? But so you do find / meaning everything inside this machine, basically all the writable files that, or writable type D, meaning type directory, and then to dev null is just don't show me any other error messages. And this is called a recursive search. And so if you do this, then it tells you what all the different directories are that we can write to. And so as soon as I ran that, it shows all these different directories, and one of them is the temp folder. So I could write to the temp folder. So we went into the temp folder using cd temp, and then we used our wget command to get the LinEnum file from this machine, from the server, and it actually saved. And so now, if I just do ls, I should be able to see LinEnum right here. Voila. And so since we now have our shell file, we can run it. So // is what you use to run any shell file. And so there you go, linenum.sh, and I want to output this to a file. So I could just do output, because I know this response is going to be a big one. So the output is just going to be linenum.txt, I guess. Let's just double check that. Yep, that is indeed the command. So we're just going to run this, and it's not going to show anything on the screen. Oh, I need to give myself run permission. So execute. So chmod is to change the permissions on a file. So I need to give myself permission on this file to execute. And plus is adding. Minus would be removing. So if I wanted to remove permission, I would do -x. But I want to give myself permission to run it. And so now we're going to run it again. And it should run. Okay, I think the problem was that I used the incorrect command to export. So let's try a different one, which is for E. And let's try this again. Okay. I think it's working. We're definitely seeing all the results on the screen, but I want to see if it's actually going to export to the file that I need it to export to. Read the full report. Give it to me. Give me the full report. Give me the full report. Oh, it's not the full report. I can't see the full report. Okay, let's see what we can see. So we could see, where is the user? Where is the good stuff? Where's the good stuff? So software, sudo version, Apache version, installed Apache modules, useful file locations. Okay, interesting. Installed compilers. There's a name. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Read write sensitive files. So you could read write, or at least I could read the etc password file. That's important to know. We definitely can't do anything with the etc shadow file. That's fine. SUID files. SUID files. SUID basically means that you could set the user ID to the user ID of the person that made it. So if root made these files and they all have the S flag on them, the S permission on them, that means if we run them, we can run them with the permission of the root user. So that's probably useful for us. So what can we run with root permission that would be useful for us? This is actually not bad. This is a word editor similar to Nano, but that means that we could run it as root. So I bet if we ran this instead of the cat command or the nano command to read that password backup file, we could probably find the password for K. So this is good to know. So user bin vim basic. Let's see what else we got. Possibly interesting SUID files. Yeah, it already says it for us. Nice. Okay, so there you go. SGID files. So this is for group ID. And what else? Is there anything in here that's also useful? Files with POSIX capability set. I don't know what that means. Let's move that on. Let's move the configuration files in etc. Okay, that's useful. Bash history, location and contents if accessible. Okay, we might be able to see something in there. Scan complete. And then we tried to read it a couple of times, and that part didn't work. Okay, so what do I need to do left? Enumerate the machine to find Any vectors for privilege escalation? We kind of did. I think it's the Vim text editor. What is the name of the other user that we found? It's K. And what does this give us? User privilege escalation checklist or tool like LinEnum. Okay, cool. We did that. Okay, so if you found another user, what can you do with this information? We can log in as the other user and try to get other information that might be useful. So let's first try to see if we can use that past backup file to get Vim. So where's Vim again? It is right. Where is it? This thing. So we're going to see if we could use this thing to read K's password file. cd home ls cdk ls passback. Okay, so boom. Let's do that and then pass back. Oh, look at that. Previously we could not read it, but look at this thing. This is a long Here's a really strong password that follows the password policy. Okay, fair enough. That's probably the password. That is indeed the password. Okay, so that's the password. So, and we completed the room, which is exciting. So what we're gonna do, just for giggles, is we're going to, how do I exit out of this? I always forget how to exit out of this. Q something? Is that how you do it? Yeah, there you go. So, so what we want to do is we want to switch users to K. And we want to use K's password. And we are now K. So we are a root user. What's inside the SSH file? Ah, look at that. This is something that can be used with John the Ripper to be to gain access. So this is a key. This is like a certificate key. So if I do Vim, maybe I could just do Vim like this, ID RSA. Could I? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so there you go. It's a RSA private key, and this is something that can be used to verify ourselves as this person. This is instead of a password, essentially. Get out. I'm not trying to write to it. I'm just trying to see what's in there. I mean, we got all the answers, but let's see if there's anything else that we could kind of do with this, just to have some extra fun a little bit. Okay, I think I can download it this way since I can't save it like that. Listen, you gotta figure things out. You know what I mean? Okay, 10, 10, 113, 129, and this is going to be the path to the file, and then the file itself, which is ID RSA. Oh, I didn't say where we wanted to save, so we're gonna do that. Did that work? K's password is going to be this thing. I think that worked. That did actually work. Okay, so we got the key file. So now what we want to do is we want to use John the Ripper to give us the passphrase to this ID RSA file. And this is, again, just for, you know, shits and giggles, because we're trying to get like extra brownie points right here. So we are going to run SSH to John to try to find this, the hash for this, and then we're gonna use John the Ripper to actually solve the hash. So it's a two-step process. So first we need to find SSH to John, and that's the file. So then we're gonna do John SSH to john.py. Actually, no, pretty sure I need to do Python first because it's a Python file. So Python 3, use this Python file and use it against id.rsa and then save it to, we're going to say khash.txt ls. Now we have hash. Okay, great. So now we're going to use John to solve khash, and we're going to do the word list option in John to solve it, and we're going to use the RawQ file. Look at that. Hey, we got it. The actual hash value, so the password for that is beeswax. So if I wanted to now use that IDRSA file to log in, we could probably do it using that. So let's see if we can actually do it. So it would be SSH, or I guess we could do it from this one. Let's see if we could do it from this one. Okay, so SSH k at 1010. What's the thing that we're in here? It's 1010 113 129. And it would be using k.ssh.idrsa. That's what we would be using to do that. Yes. Beeswax. Permission, did I do it wrong? Let's see if I do it from this machine, maybe it'll work. K at 1010 113 129. Right? 129. So far, I think that's right, right? And then use ID RSA. Beeswax. So maybe that's not it. Maybe it. Let's see. Is it gonna be the same thing right here? It is, huh? That's a little funky. I wonder why that didn't work. Okay, well, I kind of feel like that last part failed. I almost don't want to leave it in, but we already got all the answers to this. So we did complete the room. So that part was a success, and we did fairly well with Hydra. And we did pretty good up until the point that we actually, figured out the passphrase that comes out of that hash for inside, where is it, the IDRSA file inside this thing. So that whole certificate, that key that we unlocked, that private key, gave us this password. But there's, for some reason, I don't know, that kind of stumps me. If you have an answer to that, I would very much like to know what the answer is. So please leave it in the comment section. Otherwise, this was chill. This was fun. We learned some things. We pen tested. This was like basic penetration testing. So let's kind of review all the formats here, right? So we went and whoa, come on, buddy. Do me a solid here. There we go. So we deployed the machine, we connected to the network, we ran an Nmap command that took an hour and a half because we were scanning all the ports, and we got a lot of good information from it. The hidden directory that we found was using GoBuster and the directory option with the list of directories, and then you can find that inside a Git repository like seclists. And then there's a bunch of different dictionaries in there. One of them is a directory, or there's several directory dictionaries in there. So we did that, and we found development. And then when we went inside the development file, we found that there was a user with a J and a K And then so what we did was using something called enum for Linux, we enumerated this machine, and then from there we found a bunch of other information, including 2 users, and one of them was Jan. And based on the information that we found in here, Jan's password was weak, so that was the one that we could use a dictionary attack for, and we did. So we used Hydra with the RockQ dictionary, and we were able to find out that her password really is a very basic password, Armando. And then so since we had the username and we had the password, and from running Nmap right here, when we ran Nmap, we found out that SSH was one of the ports that was open, which is something that you can use to access a server remotely. We SSH'd into Jan using the Armando password, and we were actually able to get in there. And then when we got in the Linux machine, we used a different shell script called LinEnum or LinEnum, which is available for free on the GitHub repository. And you could just literally Google linenum.sh and you'll get the link to that. In my experience, it's better if you copy the contents of that and then save it inside a new shell file on your machine instead of trying to just download that shell file. Sometimes the formatting doesn't come through, so it's a little bit tough. So what we did was we copied the 1300 lines of that script and we downloaded it into our vulnerable machine using a Python server, and then from that we actually had to find a directory that we could write to, because our main directories we couldn't write to. So we found the command to write to a directory, which is find / writable directories, and then once we found the directory that we could write to, which was the temp folder, we went inside the temp folder and we ran we downloaded the linenum shell file from our own attack box using a Python server. And then from there, we just kind of went through the motions and found a bunch of different things that were useful, which was the Vim text editor, which actually had an SUID permission. And using the Vim text editor, we went to the password backup file that was on Kay's desktop, and we opened it with the Vim text editor. And since it had root permissions, root executable SUID permissions, we were able to actually find what was inside Kay's password backup file, which is this super long password, and obviously it's a really complex password. So a password like this will not be able to be hacked using Hydra or a dictionary, a password dictionary, because this doesn't exist inside the RockQ password list. I just know that for a fact. Maybe it does now, because maybe this is like one of the rooms that people have seen. So that's basically how we did all this, right? That's step by step what we actually did to pen test this machine inside this room. So I hope you found it useful. This is your boy Hank Hackerson, aka Hank Hacks Hackers, and we finished the basic pen testing room with TryHackMe. If you want to get your own membership, make sure you use that link in the bio to get an extra discount, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share, turn on the bell so that you get notified the next time that we drop something. And I will see you in the next video.